Welcome to the Trading Sliders Podcast. Here we go, episode number 41 of the Trading Sliders Podcast. How's everybody doing out there? I'm Bobby Puckett, here not in studio with me, but on the road, Kurt the Flash Bennett. What's going on, Flash?
Oh, not much. Just getting ready to roll up on Chattanooga here, heading home from Florida.
Yeah, Flash spent the weekend in the Sunshine State that had more lightning strikes and thunderstorms than sunshine, but it happens
I'm
that way.
getting too old to make. I figured out I'm getting too old to make these trips though. These 3-day trips to Florida and back.
Well, we've only done it a few weeks in a row, so it's
Yeah, I know.
luckily, I tell you what, my race trips. I stayed home this week in the Hoosier state, which is near and dear to our hearts. But I was still beat down a little bit from last week. I had a cold all week, felt like crap, and actually I was going to go to Florence Thursday night, but I didn't. I felt so bad, and then Friday I was all geared up to go to Lincoln Park, and hell, I slept the whole way there. Tanya drove the whole way. Then last night I was fine. So I'm finally over everything. But
Well, that's good because now I know how long it's going to take me to get over it because I've got the same thing you had.
Yeah, well,
So if I sound a little funny, that's why.
well, about Thursday you'll feel fine. It takes about 4 days. So
yeah, I've had it since I left Thursday night to head to Florida. That's when it started. So
yeah, well, it takes about a week. But this week's guest, Josh Harris, UMP Modified Ace, 250 feature wins, former American Modified Series champion. We caught up with Josh Harris a few weeks back at the races and sat down in his motorhome in a much needed air conditioned break. There is a little background noise in this, but there's guys, I'm just gonna let you know, during race season we're gonna have some background noises because a lot of this stuff is done with impacts being ran and everything. But we are at the mercy of the racers. It's their show. We're just here to push it along. So but we appreciate you guys hanging out each and every week, like I said. But this is a little bit of background noise with Josh Harris, but it's it's still very good though.
Yeah, we kind of like just keep it real.
Yeah, it's we go to everybody in their element, and sometimes their element might be in a trailer on a hillside, saying it sideways. Sometimes their element might be in a truck stop, but we go to their element. But yeah, Josh Harris, this week's guest, and got to thank our sponsors each and every week, Diesel Boys LLC. Brandon Hooker and the boys at Diesel Boy. If you need anything diesel truck related, reach out to them. They do diesel deletes, all types of diesel automotive work. Reach out to Brandon Hooker and the boys at Diesel Boy. Our Slider of the Week being brought to you each and every week by Speed Decals. Hung out with Chase last night, Flash. Our buddy Chase, Walt's son, at Speed Decals. He got me some. He got my group up in the bougie section, as he called it. We was up in the reserve. We was up in the reserve seats at Tri-State Speedway, and it's the first time in many years I've been up there, and I see why they charge more. You see everything a lot better, and what little bit of breeze that you do get from the west that's coming in hits you in the back, and it helps when it's 109 degrees outside. So
yeah, man.
But big shout out to Chase for taking care of that. He said, I'm gonna sneak you up here in the bougie section, so he did.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
Speed Decals, our Slider of the Week every week. Our deep dives each and every week being brought to you by Kentucky Clutch and Performance. If you need anything clutch related for any type car, farm tractor, pulling truck, race car, reach out of Chris and the guys at Kentucky Clutch and Performance. And our Crash of the Week, each and every week, being brought to you by D.O. Handyman and Remodeling. This week's Crash of the Week, we're going to take a different route because we're going to talk about safety measures and stuff. But still, Crash of the Week, each and every week, being brought to you by D.O. Handyman and Remodeling, 812-989-5002. If you're in the Kentuckian area, Louisville, Southern Indiana, you need any type of handyman work done around the house, reach out to David at D.O. Handyman and Remodeling. I think that's everything. I think I've got most of our stuff jotted down. Like I said, Flash is on the road, and we appreciate Flash for joining us on I would say kind of short notice. We didn't really know how we were going to pull this off this week, so we said, hell, we did it so good last week on the fly. Let's just do it again. So it's kind of the way we do it.
This is gonna work as long as we don't run into a dead zone.
Yeah, well, if we run into the dead zone, I'll just keep going and we'll be all right.
Pick back up later.
Yeah, just pick back up when you pick back up. Fortunately, I can hit stop and we can cut it all back in if we need to. This week news of the week we're gonna get into. We have a new Crown Jewel event for open wheel race cars. Especially the midgets. I know we've always had Turkey Night Grand Prix and we've always had the Chili Bowl, but now we have the BC39 and we're going to talk about that. What an event the BC39 was. Out of all the craziness that happened this week, that was some of the positives that went down the BC39. What are we doing? When I say what are we doing, that means we've had a lot of fights at the racetrack that we're going to kind of discuss a little bit.
A lot of fights.
A lot of fights. I've got a different take on this, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or if I'm just tired of all the drama. But my take is going to be a little different than what it was 15 years ago. I promise you that, because 15 years ago I would have been in the middle of all that mess. We're going to talk about that. Superman gets DQ'd, and he's transparent about it. Opens up. Does the interview with Flo Racing, tells everybody how and why he got DQ'd. We had a crazy crash at Sonoya, and thank God it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I know it was bad, but
it was scary.
So hopefully some good comes out of this. We're going to talk about that and our weekend trips. And we kind of got a new Racers Race segment, but we really don't. It's just us talking about Ricky Lewis and his accomplishments every weekend. So we're going to get into that. And Racetrack Spotlight this week is going to have to be it's one that I think we may have done it, but we really didn't. We kind of just told people we need to go there. But I officially want to talk about Tri-State Speedway and the jewel of a racetrack that it is for this week's Racetrack Spotlight. So That's the news of the week. That's what we're going to get into. First things first, Flash, we in the Midwest are very fortunate, especially in the central Indiana area, central Illinois area. But I don't think the fans really realize what we have here in the Midwest.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was at Lincoln Park Speedway Friday night. Beautiful facility. Racetrack was top notch. Feature race was superb. Modified race was good. Everything was good. But I heard some people complaining, well, look how dusty this place is. First off, the track was not dusty. It was phenomenal. I mean, it was 110 degrees, but it was it's Lincoln Park's got its cushion back. And they cut the cushion in and they cut the crown off. They cut the crown off the backstretch. So the people that took over Lincoln Park, USAC in general, but they took over Lincoln Park Speedway. Guys, you guys don't understand how close we were to not having Bloomington Speedway or Lincoln Park Speedway this year. We almost didn't have either one of those racetracks. There was a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes with Pat Sullivan and guys from USAC and to make all this happen. People don't realize how close we are to losing it. But those are two of the phenomenal racetracks, and it just irks me when people bitch and complain about them. Like, tell them, Flash, you think those are bad? You need to go down south a little bit. You'll find some new appreciation for your facilities.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as far as running the show, too, I mean, you get down south, I tell everybody, I said, once you get down past the Kentucky line, like you get in Tennessee further down, everything just slows down there. You don't get in a hurry when you go to the racetrack.
No, well, that's like, so they had 47 sprint cars, 19 or 18 modifieds, 18 or 19 bombers at Lincoln Park Friday night. We were out of the racetrack by 11:30. They started at 7.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
you can't beat that.
That's with single car qualifying in the sprint cars. So we had 50 cars that did single car qualifying. We had 5 hot lap groups, 50 cars qualifying, 4 heat races, a C main, a B main, A main, 2 modified heat races, A-Main, 2 bomber heat races, and A-Main, and you were out of the racetrack within 3 hours by the time it started.
Yeah.
And we had a 20-minute track prep. You know what I'm saying? Like guys, if you try to do that,
it's the middle. Like he's talking to, it's the middle of summer too. If it gets a little dry, you can't really complain. I mean, that's a part of dirt racing. I heard something Essex said last night, and I thought it was the coolest thing I've heard all year. He was talking about the track having a little character to it at Muskegon last night.
Yeah.
He said, you know what? He said that's why we don't go to asphalt racetracks.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and happy birthday to James Essex.
It
was James Essex's birthday
too.
This weekend. Yeah, happy birthday. Shout out to James. But yeah, I mean, that's what. Like, I just don't understand why people are so caught up on it's got to be perfect every single night. It's not, and that's the beauty of it. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting. That's why you go to the races, because you never really know what's going to happen. I mean, hell, last night I was at Tri-State. Tyler Nicely's won 6 out of the last 7 modified races. Just absolutely destroying every field he comes up to. And Zach Faird last night was like, Tyler who? And half-tracked him. So, I mean, that's why you go. I mean, you want to see this stuff. You want to see, what the tracks have to produce. I mean, it's just crazy to me. That's something I just want to talk about real quick. I don't want to spend all day on it. But, guys, be grateful for what we got. I know we say this each and every week, and we're going to say it again when we talk about the fights. But if it makes you that upset, find something else to do. Don't be a negative Nancy. Don't go to the racetrack and, going there already pissed off is not, that's not good for anybody. It's not good for you. It's not good for people in your car with you, and it's definitely not good for the racetrack. So.
Right. Yeah.
I just want to touch on that a little bit. Just try to promote more positive podcasting. We're going to try to do that for a while. We're not going to we're not going to shit on nobody. We're trying to be positive here. Let's because there's a lot of shit that goes on that is negative. So let's try to be positive. One thing I want to talk about this week's DO Handyman Remodeling Crash of the Week. Happened at Sonoya in the 604 late model race. If you've been on any type of social media today, you've seen the crash where the race car hits, goes up in the stands. And thank God for the telephone pole there.
Yeah.
Because the telephone pole
kicked you back out on the track. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if not, this probably could have been catastrophic. I mean, it was bad enough. We had 3 people hospitalized as of noon as we're recording this. It's everybody's been released from the hospital, so that's a positive because one guy took a vicious shot. And one thing I seen, there's a lot of people saying, well, see, that's why you don't stand at the fence, and I agree with that comment. And we've done that. I mean, we stood at the fence and got little video clippets and put it out. I mean, and honestly, it's kind of neat to stand down by the fence sometimes and see the speed. But this right here wasn't guys just standing at the fence. I seen a second video where they're coming from the videos coming down the front stretch, and these guys were getting out of the bleachers and actually walking. The guy that got hit, the gentleman that got hit that flew 25 feet, got hit in his back. He didn't even know that the car was coming. So, I mean, it was just a bad deal. Is there some things at Sonoya that could be addressed? Yes. I've been there. Flash has never been there, but I've been there, and I mean, they do terrace parking in turns 1 and 2 where they back their trucks up to the track and like sit at the tailgate against the fence. If that would have happened in turns 1 and 2 and not 3 or 4, that's something else that could have been very, very bad.
Oh yeah.
So just hopefully positive things come out of this. We get people that are more alert. I mean, we've had kids with us at the racetrack, and as soon as the cars hit the track, I tell them, hey, put your phone down, pay attention to what's going on the racetrack. Not like you can get out of the way, but at least something's coming, and you can try to move if you need to. But hopefully everybody's learned from this, and racetracks get better catch fences. But really, I mean, the catch fence and stuff did its job. It kept the car in the racetrack. I mean, you get a 2,500-pound race car hitting catch fence and cables, they're going to do some damage.
Oh yeah.
I even seen where this actually knocked the wall in. I mean, they had to take some road equipment and put the wall back up. So I mean, it was a vicious hit, and it could have been really bad. It could have been way worse than what it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was still one of the nastier ones I've seen where I was actually really worried about the people.
Yeah, that was.
That got hit.
Yeah, that's just it's a bad deal. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
But we've all been there.
You just have to you need to keep your head on the swivel at the racetrack all the time anyway, no matter where you're sitting.
Well, that's one thing why when there's kids in the pits, like I'm always on alert, because it's not that they don't know, and it's not even that the parents don't know. I mean, the kids are walking with the parents, but the parents walk just a little bit faster or whatever. Then you got a kid opening the runway, and it's just it's just.
Yeah,
it could have been really bad, but thank God it wasn't as bad as what it could have been. And hopefully everybody learns from this, and we work on catch fences a little bit. And most importantly, we just hope things don't happen. But I mean, racing is a dangerous sport. I mean, it
is.
It's dangerous for everybody involved. I mean, drivers, spectators.
Fans,
crew guys.
I've been hit by rocks in the stands before. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen.
Well, speaking of that, Flash, so that you know how Tanya's got 9,000 cups?
Oh yeah,
those big cups that look like water jugs that she carries to every racetrack.
Yeah.
So Friday night at Lincoln Park Speedway, they're buzzing the track off. I didn't hear it because me, I'm oblivious to everything that goes on, but everybody around us was like a bomb went off, and one of those high-dollar, big, fancy cups got hit by a rock, and it sounded like a bomb went off. Put a big dent in it. And and we were sitting damn near at the top row at Lincoln Park Speedway. So, that's a good distance from the racetrack. I mean, you just never know. I mean, you got to be careful when you're at the racetrack. But I mean, that's part of the reason why we go too, though. I mean, the excitement of not knowing,
knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah. So,
but like I said, you just got to keep an eye out though when you're there. You can't just be not paying attention, especially if you're walking.
Yeah, you can't be lollygagging around and not really know what's going on. And that's one thing too. Like when cars are on the track, I mean, it's best not to be up moving around unless you just have to.
Right.
Because you don't know what's going to happen, and as we say, I mean, shit can happen quick. We've all been there. I mean, it's probably been 20 years ago now, but hell, it's been longer than that. But, I went end over end out of Thunder Valley Raceway and up into the, where the little bleacher was on the walkway. As you exit the racetrack.
Up by the big tree.
Up by the big tree.
Yep.
Well, I landed against the big tree. That's what stopped me. But, that time, I thought I ran over a whole bleacher full of people, when I went barrel rolling out of the racetrack. So you just never know. And it doesn't matter how big, how small the track. It doesn't matter. I mean,
right.
When you're doing
and like that area there, you wouldn't think a car could get up in there. That's what, if you're sitting there looking at it, you wouldn't think about it. But
because the car's actually coming off the corner there.
Yeah.
Technically, it should wreck the other way there.
Exactly.
But that's a lot of metal, and it doesn't matter the size of the racetrack. Last year, Tri-State added another 6 foot of steel metal wall in the turn, and people are like, "Why do they do that?" Well, main reason why they do that because I've been there where race cars are landing in the cornfield. Race cars have landed in the pits. I mean.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The pits too was the same way. So I mean, I'm kind of glad they did that. Really.
Yeah, it's and for us selfishly, you get a lot bigger cushion now than what you used to because they let it build up, and boy, does it make for good racing. So we're gonna talk about that too. But one thing we're gonna discuss fights at the racetrack. There's been plenty over the last few weeks, and this isn't anything new. It's been going on since before our dads raced. I mean, if you got guys going in circles, especially in the summertime when it gets hot and they lose their tempers, there's going to be fights. I know everybody's seen the Michael Page, Corey Hedgecock deal at Sonoya. Sonoya made all kinds of headlines this week.
They did.
Sonoya. And the biggest headline of them all is being forgot. Jimmy Owens still got it. So shout out to an old guy. One of the greatest modified racers of all time, and in the top 10 dirt late model racers of all time. The O Show, Jimmy Owens, still doing Jimmy Owens things. So let's talk about a little bit of positive from Sonoya before it be all gloom and doom.
Yeah.
But Michael Page and Corey Hedgecock had their deal. At Lincoln Park, Tyler Longmiller and Jack Dawsey Jr. or Jack Dawsey III had an issue in the pits. Salem Speedway had multiple fights this weekend. Fights in Victory Lane, fights while the races are going on, fights in pit road. The Speedrome had a major fight last week. It resulted in guys, getting barred out for 5 and 6 weeks and losing point leads. And hell, we was down at North Alabama last week and we were de-escalating a couple fights ourselves. I mean, it's if you listen to last week's show, you understand that's part of it. But my take on, well, first off, let me ask you. I'm gonna let you go first, Flash. What is your take on all the fights at the racetrack? Because we've been in them, so we know. But what is your take?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, it's 100 degrees outside right now this time of year anyway. But I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of the fights, the stuff I seen was not really
fight worthy.
Not really to be fight over.
Exactly.
To be fought over. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
I mean, I've been in fights before, but usually it was for a reason. If I'm gonna get my ass whooped, it's because I got a reason to fight somebody.
Well, one thing.
A couple of the ones I've seen this weekend wasn't really fight worthy. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's well, here's my take on it. And I'm in agreement with that. In my opinion, a couple of those wasn't really fight worthy. But like you said, it's hot. Guys, a lot of guys, and this is going to come out wrong, don't really want to be at the racetrack this time of year. Not that they're, fed up with racing, but it's just hot. It's long nights. We got guys running the Summer Nationals 30 nights in a row. The guys running down south, it's extremely hot down south. I mean, it's almost undoable here in the Midwest, but in Georgia and Alabama, the humidity, I mean, it's hot. And but here's the thing. There's so many kids involved, and everything's on social media now, and everybody's got cameras. And I know I'm going to sound like a hypocrite because I was the guy that when I raced, if we had a problem, I would run over you. And if we still had a problem, I would, fix it in the pits, and we'd just fight. So this is really going to sound, I must just be getting old, or I might be getting softer in my old age. But I see all these kids at the racetrack, and not only kids. There's a lot of young girls at the racetrack with their dads, uncles, cousins anymore. They don't need to be seeing all that bullshit. They just don't. It's just here's the thing: if I'm running a series, and thank God I'm not, because we'd probably be out of business real soon. Because if we heard about my race directing stuff, I piss people off. But if there was a fight at just say we own the racetrack, Flash and Bobby's dirt. It's gonna be dirt if we own one, but it's a Flash and Bobby's dirt speedway, and you fight at our racetrack. I'm just telling you. I know people say the old it puts asses in the seats. No, it doesn't. It makes your sport look bad. It makes our racing community is a niche community anyways. We don't need that negative stuff. That is not a part of the sport. I know people, I get on social media and I scroll and I look at it. Well, I don't want to say the word, but that's stupid. I'm going to be nice. Why do you want to see people, take a chance on hurting each other? It's just, it's a bad look all the way around. So if I've got a racetrack and two guys come to enough blows where they think they need to fight, they're going to do that somewhere else because they're going to be barred out for life. Not just one time, not just, okay, you get a 2-week fine, or okay, we're gonna bar you out. Now, if you crash on the racetrack and you thought somebody did you wrong and you guys went down the corner and you got them back, okay, so be it. That's just part of it. But it stops there. when you get out and you got a chance of somebody's kid getting hurt, somebody's crew guy getting hurt, somebody's wife getting hurt because
officials getting hurt.
Yeah, officials getting hurt because 10 or 12 guys are pounding on each other. I'm not cool with that. Find somewhere else to race. It's like if I was a national series, if I was UMP and you guys did that, it'd be a 1 year ban at minimum because everybody deserves a second chance because we've all been there. But I'd say your first fight is a 1 year ban from series track. If it's a UMP deal from every UMP sanction, if it's IMCA from every IMCA sanctioned track, our sport does not need that. I know people say, and I see some things where Salem was kind of promoting it on their social media stuff, and I just
that's what I was gonna say. That last night in Victory Lane, that's bad because, man, when you go to Victory Lane, you got little kids there, from the other race teams, and they park 3-4 cars in Victory Lane there. They don't need that in Victory Lane.
Yeah.
I don't care who's fighting.
Yeah, it don't matter why you're mad. Settle that later. Like you don't do
Go in the parking lot, do it out there. You know what I mean, or something, or at the truck stop, like Tyler Herb said.
Yeah, at the truck stop, anytime, anywhere. But another thing too, like I was at Lincoln Park Speedway and didn't firsthand see this, but heard from a very reliable source that Longmiller and Dawsey on the racetrack, they had no issue. It was a clean race, great modified feature. Something was said in the pits to somebody's mama or something, and they had a knockdown drag out in the pits after two guys just raced and never even touched each other on the racetrack. So it makes absolutely no sense at all. Absolutely no sense. And like the Page and Hedgecock deal, Hedgecock owned up to it. He said, I'll take this ass whooping, but I didn't realize it was going to be about 5 of you. Hedgecock he threw a slider on Page. It didn't quite clear him. And here's what's going to be ironic. Michael Page is getting mad that somebody ran into him in a racing deal. And Michael Page is one of the most aggressive racers there is. So that's the funny part of the story, if there is one. And then he runs into him on the backstretch, and two guys kind of square up, and they jump on. Hedgecock's like, screw this, I'm going to jump on top of you, which was wrong. In my opinion, you should have just let the officials handle it. But when you did jump on top of him, I get why you did. But we don't need guys jumping on the racetrack, crew members jumping on the racetrack, 5 or 6 guys beating up on one guy while there's still cars on the racetrack. Especially you just had a medical emergency 2 hours before that at the racetrack. We don't need people, fighting all up and down the racetrack. Somebody get hit by a car. It's just a bad deal. I mean, it's just something that I know it's not going anywhere. I know it's not because it's part of the sport, but it's
that's like I was talking about the officials too. I mean, you got officials trying to break that kind of stuff up, and they ain't got they're there to help people race. You know what I mean? They put their time in.
Yeah, well, that was
those guys they don't have to show up when it's 100 degrees. You know what I mean? They could just say, "Hey, I'm not gonna make it there tonight" or something. Well, those guys are showing up, and they're putting themselves in danger because everybody else is acting goofy.
Yeah, that was just like us, down there last week.
Yeah,
I mean, it was we didn't.
Luckily, ours didn't get that far out of hand.
Yeah, but it was on the verge. I mean, it could have.
Yeah,
like we were in a situation where it could have been really bad. Really bad. I mean, there's some guys even had weapons. I mean, it could have been bad.
Oh yeah.
Bad. And bad for people not even involved is the bad thing. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So that's enough on that. We're not gonna say and dwell on that. But that's just something that I'm not a fan of. I guess it's
maybe guys will hear this though, and maybe before they jump out of their car, they'll think about it for 2 seconds, because sometimes that's all it would take is 2 or 3 seconds to say, you know what, it ain't really worth it to do all this right now. So if we get 2 people not to do that, that'd be worth it.
Well, here's the thing. I know we've all kind of bitched about the sports drone over our over the years. But I also do know that the guys at the sports drone aren't playing around. Those cops will tase you before they talk to you. So they've kind of they're doing their best to but it shouldn't be that way. I mean, we shouldn't have to have guys getting tased and going to the hospital. I mean, it's But if that's what it takes to clean it up, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
But I really rather it not be that way. But enough of that.
Yeah.
Enough of that negative stuff. Let's talk about the positive. And we'll start off with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the BC 39.
Yeah.
We got a crown jewel event for midget racing. I think there was 70 something midgets there. And before we even talk about that, I'm just going to say thank you, Doug Bowles. Thank you, Roger Penske. Thank you for making the track permanent. Thank you for adding the Indiana Sprint Week. And thank you for letting the kids race there this weekend in the junior sprints.
And I'm hoping to get a micro race there for too long.
Yeah, that's
I think what's his name was really wanting that to happen. Larson's son.
Yeah. He was like, let's go non-wing micro so I can bang the boards down. Owen's wanting to bang the boards down, so that's hey, I'm down with that.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Me and Owen, we can get along. We can get down. But they had roughly 80 midgets. Tuesday night, Justin Grant took the win over Gavin Miller and Kyle Cummins. But Dayson Pursley and Justin Grant and Cal Drake was going at it. And Cal Drake did a full send and took out Pursley, took out Seavey, and took out Drake, and kind of put a damper on what was going to be race of the year. I mean, because they were trading sliders left and right. It was Trading Sliders podcast approved. My buddy Greg, our buddy, friend of the show, Greg was up there, and Greg actually had me some tickets. He's like, man, I got you some tickets, some pit passes, some VIP stuff, because he works for a drag team up there, and they had some amenities. But man, I feel bad when I'm not going to catch a BC 39, an open wheel race in Indianapolis. That's how bad I felt. But I told Greg, man, I appreciate it. But he's like, I got you tickets, and he even watched the feature from Justin Grant's trailer up there. So it was but shout out to Greg for reaching out and wanting to, help out the show. Excellent race. That racetrack, man, they're on to something there, aren't they, Flash?
Oh yeah. That's gonna. I wish they'd get like a monthly race or something up there.
That's what I was thinking. Like, let's do once a month. I'm even down. Let's try a summer national race there. It's about the same size as Macon. I mean, why can't we make it happen?
They can run Macon. They can run there, I think.
I mean, I'm all for it. I think the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's talk about being blessed. In Central Indiana, Indianapolis area. You guys got an excellent track just because right there, and so we all honor Brian Clausen. But Tuesday night, the Summer Nationals was also on at the Benton County Fair Raceway, and in Benton, Missouri, and our buddy Robert was there, so I got a full rundown. Hung out with Robert and Chase last night at Tri-State Speedway, and Robert was telling me the full rundown of the Benton race. Because another thing too, we talked about this last night at the racetrack. When you watch on TV, it's great to have Flow, Dirt Vision, Racing Dirt. It's great to have all those. But you just don't pick up on everything. You don't get to see everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing like being at the racetrack.
Yeah, I really liked being in Florida last night, but I really wanted to be at Hopstock.
Yeah. Yeah, that was well, you missed a good one last night, Flash.
I missed that one because that's the only time the late models are there every year. So
but we got two this year. We got two. We got
that's right.
Got Flow Night in America. So we've got one in September coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. I might have to make that one if I can.
Yeah, but it's a Wednesday night, so we should be good. Well, we should have nothing on our schedule. So Benton Speedway, Turbo Tyler, our friend of the show. Everybody likes Turbo. Turbo's another one of those guys that if you don't know him, you kind of think he's a prick. Yeah. But when you sit back and watch, like, I wasn't a fan of Turbo. I wasn't on the Turbo train like everybody else was.
That's cool.
Yep. But after sitting back and watching a lot of stuff, I'm like, I'm kind of a turbo guy.
Yeah.
So, you all right? Debbie missed an exit or something?
Yeah. No. She just about wiped out a deer. Get ready to jump the K-rail in front of us.
Well, speaking about wiping out a deer, last night, Flash, coming home from Tri-State, about Jasper, Indiana.
Yeah.
I was practicing like I was running a 3-hour. I about took a whole family of deer out at 80 mile an hour. I was about to do my best
man.
Ron White. How'd you get yours?
Yeah.
In the Acadia, running 80.
Yeah.
But Turbo took the win over Mark Wagner and Jason Fager. That's going to be our
slider of the week.
Slider of the week because Turbo threw about 10 different haymakers. He was driving the car in like he was Jack Hewitt back in the day. I mean, just putting that car anywhere he wanted to go.
He was sliding 2 at a time too. It was awesome.
Yeah, when he took the lead, he went from 3rd to 1st and about put her in the fence. But Benton Speedway, I've never been there, but it's a place I want to go now after watching that race.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool place.
That night also in the modified feature, Tyler Nicely done won about 5 or 6 in a row, and we had an incident. We had an incident on the racetrack where 2 guys ran into each other. Chase Holland and Tyler Nicely were trading sliders back and forth, and then what do you do when somebody hits you with a slider? You try to break their momentum.
Yep.
A lot of people say that Nicely turned down on Holland. A lot of people say Holland didn't really throw the slider, just drove it in there. But as something that, you could barely catch it on TV, but as Robert pointed out to me last night at the racetrack, he said that was just a racing deal. He said because Nicely was catching a lap car, and the lap car kind of entered in the middle, so Nicely changed his entry, and right when Holland was committed to throw the slider. And they just got together. I mean, it just...
I don't think he'd run in there just doored him on purpose like that. You know what I mean? Because he split him the lap before clean, and then, Tyler got back around him, and then he'd done it again, and then I kind of thought Tyler just left the door open a little bit too much anyway, maybe just a little bit, Well,
that's what I thought too, but as Robert was saying that he kind of had to change his entry because of the car they was running up on. So it was kind of a split-second decision that just didn't work out. But one cool thing about it is instead of bitching about it, complaining about it, they you know what they did? They said, Holland said, I really respect Nicely. He's somebody I look up to, but, I thought he was trying to block me, and we got together. And Nicely said, I got plenty of pop ribbons, and we'll just go on to the next race. Nicely wins the next night, and they asked him about it, and he said, what are we talking about last night? Let's talk about this night going forward. So, 2 of the younger guys in our sport handling it more mature than, seasoned veterans. So,
exactly.
Go figure. I guess it has something to do with racing every night of the week. You just if you race once a month, you don't care to tear your shit up. But if you got to race tomorrow, it ain't that important.
Well, how did that work out too? Last week we was talking about Nicely was probably going to be back on the Hell Tour pretty soon, and he came back with a vengeance.
Almost kind of like I had an inside tip, huh?
Yeah,
maybe, just maybe. I don't know. But he's actually He's actually still has a legitimate shot of winning the Hell Tour too, because they take your best 15 finishes for the modifieds.
Oh, okay.
So, but he needs no rainouts and good runs all this week.
Right.
So he needs I mean, he needs some help. If they have a night or so of bad weather, then he doesn't have a shot. But Trevor Neville broke last night. So I don't know how many more races Neville's going to run. I think Neville broke an engine last night. So and Neville had about a 50-point lead on Chase Holland by their best races. You know what I'm saying? So Holland's got to finish strong. And I think Nicely is about 250 points out of the lead. But Nicely doesn't have all of his races yet, where they have all their races. So once Nicely gets to the 12 or 15 mark, whatever it is,
have an idea.
It's going to be a pretty close gap. So it's It's not a runaway as people think it is. And I've had some people say, well, I'm not a big fan of that. He's got a shot at winning the Summer Nationals and didn't run all the races. Well, I mean, if they take 15 of the 30, it's 15 of the 30. It doesn't matter if he ran the first 15 or the last 15.
Yeah, ain't no different if somebody wins it that don't run the last 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's the same difference.
It's the same deal. Yeah, I mean, Nick Hoffman's won 5 or 6 in a row and always took the last week off. So,
right, yeah,
just because. So, but so that was that. And then so that was our slider of the week. And if we had a race of the year candidate, it was that for the late models. And then Wednesday night, the BC 39, the midgets on the Indiana Bull Ring again. Let's go. Talking about another race of the year candidate. I mean, how in the world did you, if you do not like midget racing, because we got 2 slider of the weeks this week. Because Cannon McIntosh come from 19th and won the BC 39.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. From 19th in 39 laps and won the BC 39. Cannon McIntosh took the win over Jacob Denny and Zach Dom. Not only did Cannon McIntosh come from 19th, he got upside down in his heat race, won the B main, and won the A main. So
that's pretty impressive there.
Yeah, absolute just race of the year, especially in the open wheel world. But the slider of the week this week, we got 2 of them. Cannon McIntosh, because he threw about 10 slide jobs for the lead, from 19th, and Turbo, he 2 for 1 for the lead. So, two big slider of the weeks. So Walt's been a continuous sponsor from day one, so we can talk about him twice this week if we need to.
Yeah, if you guys didn't get to watch the BC 39, you need to go back and watch it. Watch the replays on it. That was, both of them nights were awesome.
And what I like was Friday night, or I say Friday because the first night, Tuesday night. The track was rough because of all the rain they got. And hats off to the cats working the racetrack there. I don't know who it was. I think it was the same guys that work Kokomo, the O'Connors and them. I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure. But whoever it was knows what the hell was going on. Because they got the track in tip-top shape, and it was smooth with no character. But, man, did it have a cushion, and you could run all over it on Thursday night, or Wednesday night. Yeah, whatever the hell a day it was. All that awesome. Runs together. But, yeah, go back and, check out the BC 39 on Flow. It's one of those things that, I know there's a lot going on. I know we got Summer Nationals. I know we got stuff going on every night of the week, but it is definitely worth the watch. And if you're not a fan of a midget and sprint car racing, Pat Sullivan. Oh, and not only this, let me before I go into that. So I sent Pat Sullivan a text flash like, hey Pat, glad to hear you back on Flow because Pat's not on the road no more. He's he's just being the ambassador for Indiana. He's helping with Bloomington Speedway, helping with Lincoln Park Speedway, helped at the Rushville Thanksgiving 4th of July Nationals this last weekend. Thanksgiving for me because my fat ass was eating all day, but he helped out with that. But I sent him a text and said, man, it's great to hear you back on, back on Flow. You and Brian do a great job. And this is in the middle of a heat race. Like, not wanting no text back or no shout out or nothing. Just, hey, we appreciate you. And Pat Sullivan is such a stand-up guy. He messages me back why the heat race is going on. Thank you for the support. Thanks for watching and hope your podcast is doing well. So Pat Sullivan takes care of everybody at every time when he doesn't even have to. Pat Sullivan is a national treasure. He's one of those guys that throwback, old school, but man, I love me some Pat Sullivan. Still just a guy that loves racing. And loves.
And he knows so much about racing too. Is what's cool. He knows all the history of Indiana, especially.
Well, he knows enough about the sport that he should be jaded and not love it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's not. He is an ambassador for our
People
sport.
that told him say anything about racing ever.
No, no, he would never say nothing bad about
No.
anybody, any person, anything. But it was
Yeah.
good to hear Pat Sullivan and Brian Herbert and man,
Yeah. I love listening to him call the races though.
yeah, Brian Herbert
He's
is
so good.
he is probably he's one of my favorites out of all the guys, in all diversities. I love James Essex. You know,
Yeah.
I love Ruben. I think Chris Steffens does good, but Brian Herbert describes a race the best of anybody doing it right now. And not only that,
Oh yeah.
his one-liners and his quirky little comments are
Yeah.
they're just it's just a perfect recipe. And you know, he starts the race off better than anybody in the country because he wants you to get excited, and this is what you saved your lunch money for. And that is a saying that, you know, he's been doing that for about 15 years with the ASCS stuff, and he does it at the Chili Bowl.
Right.
USAC has got a keeper in Brian Herbert. I hope he sticks around for a long time because he understands the three different disciplines, and he gets along with the old guard, and he gets along with the new guys. So I think Brian Herbert is a great asset to USAC and Flow in general.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that was what went on. You know, with the races we've seen this weekend. My weekend race trip, I'll keep it short and sweet because I've kind of already talked about it. We went to Lincoln Park Speedway for the USAC. Got everything done in a timely manner, especially for as hot as it was. You know, track was perfect. Can't bitch about the racetrack. Logan Seavey won from 9th. Hayden Reinbold ran 2nd. Ricky Lewis 14th to 3rd. The night before, Ricky Lewis at Kokomo went 17th to 2nd. And then last night, Ricky Lewis, doing the Ricky Lewis World Tour, so to speak, hopped on a plane, flew to California, and won the USAC CRA sprint car race at Santa Maria, and kind of patted his points lead for the USAC CRA series. So our weekly Ricky Lewis doing Ricky Lewis things. But
you got to talk about a guy that does that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you get tired of hearing about it, I'm sorry. He's flying across the country. He's got more windshield time driving because he drives across the country half of the trips as well.
Yeah.
When they need equipment, because he's not going out there driving for somebody else. He's got his car at somebody else's shop out there. So not only does he fly out there or they drive out there, they do all the work, do all the maintenance, have parts delivered out there, work out of somebody else's shop, does a lot of work at the beach, and then flies back home and races in the Midwest. I mean, the kid is doing
he's posting pictures. But he's also posting pictures on all the time of going fishing. I don't know how he has time for all that stuff.
Oh, well, he just does his thing. Yeah, but,
it'd be nice to be young like that again.
Yeah, we used to do shit like that. Not quite fly across the country, but we did. We had our fair share of. I know you're not much of flying.
Although these past couple of weeks, I kind of feel like him.
Yeah, wore out, tired. It's, so that's how the trip went to Lincoln Park. Great night. So the modifieds, Tyler Longmiller picked up the win over Jack Dawsey III. Probably the best modified race I've seen Jack Dawsey III run. He drove a hell of a race, really. I don't know what went on in the pits afterwards, but it's kind of a black eye for the sport. So we've already talked about that. And then last night, went to Tri-State Summer Nationals, 41 Super Late models, 27 mods. Got to seen our buddy Greg and his little brother Eric. Seen a bunch of our friends. Seen some friends of the show. Talked to Tyler nicely for a little bit. Hung out with our buddy Robert, who has more racing knowledge than me and you combined. He was filling me in on some tidbits about some stuff going on, and we're gonna have to have Robert on for a part 2. So maybe over the winter we're going to have Robert on because he's got some stuff that he wanted to talk about and we just didn't. And then he was telling me about Austin Sheets, our buddy Austin Sheets, that we had to take up for last week. Remember how his grandpa told him, "Don't you shake that guy's hand"?
Right.
He got a couple good stories about Austin Sheets' grandpa and some fights at the racetrack back in the day. So, Flash, we don't understand how bad it really could have been.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. He filled me in on that. So that was funny. And then we got.
Hey, when your grandpa's got a mohawk, though, it's
Yeah, it's if Grandpa's rocking a mohawk, he don't care to throw fists. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hung out with him and Chase, and it was a good time. Shannon Babb took the win over the Magic Man, Mark Wagner, and Colton Burnett. But shout out to Clay Stuckey, who looked like dog shit in the heat race. Ran better in the B main, started 20th. Took a provisional to get in and ran 6th last night in the feature. So figured it out. But Shannon Babb just absolutely just, if there's a cushion and the racetrack's got some, as they say in the South, bite in it, Shannon Babb is, I know he's getting up there in age. I know he's over the 50 mark, so he's not a kid no more. But man, Shannon Babb put on a show last night.
Yeah, I was glad to see where he won last night. I didn't get to watch any of that one yet, so.
Oh, well, it's a good one. It's a good one. Magic Man Mark Wagner had a shot to get him on the last lap, and he could have used him up, but he didn't. And one thing I liked about Wagner he said he come to run the Summer Nationals to learn how to run the cushion, and well he's figuring it out. He is. Yeah. He is figuring it out, Flash. That is for damn sure.
I don't know. I've seen him run at All-Tech and places like that, and he always looks like he's pretty good on the cushion to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but he's good on the top. He's got to learn to run the cushion though. Got to run the fluff. You know, there's a but in the modified race, Tyler Nicely set quick time, and I figured he was going to be the man to beat. But Zach Fair, a local hot shoe, doesn't get out and race as much as he has recently. You know, the last few years, he's had a couple of motor issues this year, but he borrowed an engine from a buddy of his, and he said he's going to have to try to buy that damn thing because he just flat put it on him in the modified feature. Half track Tyler Nicely. So, you know, that's a pretty good night. So that's how this weekend's race trips went. So we're going to get off here. And this week's Deep Dive brought to you by Kentucky Clutch and Performance out of Utica, Kentucky, Josh Harris. It's time for the Trading Sliders Deep Dives presented by Kentucky Clutch and Performance. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. On this week's Trading Sliders Deep Dive, we have the modified hot shoe who's getting a little up there in age now. But I always start off kind of joking around a little bit, but Utica, Kentucky's Josh Harris, a multi-time modified champion. I'm going to say it's a couple hundred features. Do you know the count?
A couple years ago, we sat down and figured it up. We were doing one of Mark's schools, and he wanted to know just for that, and we were creeping in on 200, and I don't know exactly, but we're over that now.
That's what I was gonna say. I was guessing because as you can tell, we're the most unprofessional professionals as you just watched me set this up. But I was guessing, I was gonna say 200, 250-ish because the area that you run in, it's not like you get a ton of races anymore. So you know your schedule is slimmed down a whole lot.
Yeah. Back we used to run 60, 65 nights a year, and now we're lucky to get 25 in a year. So we're for us to race, we're pretty far from home anymore.
Yeah, well, that was one of my first questions I was going to ask, so I'm glad you brought it up that way. Travel, you have 2 to 3 hours, no matter which way you go, pretty much anywhere you want to go. That's your minimum travel, isn't it?
Yeah, probably the closest tracks to us that run like a modified show on a regular basis will be Florence, Kentucky, which is 3.5 hours, or we used to have Bloomington, Indiana, that run a weekly show, and that was probably 2.5 hours, but I think they're down to just a couple races a year now too. Then there's Red Hill, Illinois, which is in Sumner, Illinois. They run a weekly mod show, and it's right at the 3 hour mark.
So Well, that's why you had to get a camper, because when you're going to racing now, you're staying. You're at the point in your career that, all right, we're not going to, hit this place, and all right, tomorrow we're going here. I mean, you're kind of I laugh, but when I see you pull in the racetrack, I know, all right, he's here to camp, and racing is the bonus.
Yeah, for sure. We raced out of motel rooms for quite a while, probably 6-7 years traveling and racing out of motel rooms. But I got back when we were doing that, I got a hotel sponsor, and man, I could get rooms at like any Hampton Inn for like $35 a night. So so that was sweet. But my contact of that deal left. He got another job, went somewhere else, and I wasn't able to carry that over. And I'm like, shoot, we can buy a motorhome cheaper than what I can stay in these hotel rooms for each week, So we bought this motorhome probably 4 years ago, and it's really changed the experience of what we're able to do to race, And it used to, traveling to all these races and getting far out was really a lot of work that you don't see with getting everything scheduled and make sure hotels are in between tracks and all that stuff, and it's a really big headache. So I never really realized how convenient it was to race out of a motorhome, but I can tell you, if it ever comes a time where I can't race out of a motorhome, I probably will be when I quit racing.
Well, and when you talk about travel and the behind the scenes, that's why my wife does for me, because like last week we went to Florida on vacation, and I told her, I said, look, we're going to stay, I need you to find a place somewhere around Atlanta, because we're going to Sonoya, and then we're going to Florida, and I'm going to need you to find a place somewhere around Florence on the way back. So she's my travel agent, and so to speak. And speaking of wife, like Kurt, his wife is a big part of his career too, but your wife is actually your main crew help.
Yeah, she is. We got Joe that comes with us to the races just about every race. He hardly ever misses, and so he's a lot of help here at the track, which of course my wife is too. She's people don't believe this when I tell them, but people come ask me something. I'm like, look, you're gonna have to go ask her. She does all the notes. She does all the maintenance. Now I do like the setup changes and stuff, like everything we did last night. I'll do all that, but like today, she's out there right now, that she makes sure that when I go on the track for the first time at the night, everything's back just like it was when we left the garage. She's the one that found a broken motor mount.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
I was telling Bobby just a second ago, I said, that's pretty cool. I said, she found a broken motor mount, a cracked motor mount.
She's under that car she's under the car more than I am. And at the shop, I do all the setup stuff and all my tires and stuff like that. But as far as the weekly maintenance, the nutting and bolting, the washing, the greasing, the lubing, the fixing body panels, straightening braces, and all. I mean, she does 100% of that basically by herself while I'm taking care of the other stuff. So, and then plus she does all the work for our other businesses too. Like she does she works with me every day if we're toweling a shower or we're dealing with renters or whatever. I mean, we're together 100% of the time, and it's pretty. The one thing that's pretty cool about that is no matter what I do in life, I know that I don't have to do it by myself. I mean, she's there to help 100% of the time, all the time, no matter what we're doing. She's right there with me and can do it and is capable. So that's the cool part about it, and really attributes to a lot of our success we've had.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, and it makes it more meaningful because you've been doing this for 30 years?
I started in '96, so next year will be my 30th year. Yeah. And actually, if you talk about, I started car racing in '96. I started go-kart racing probably in the late '80s. My whole life, every weekend has been spent at a racetrack. So I don't really know what else I would do.
And one thing that's astonishing to me is you're a guy that's you have your schedule made out, and like a lot of guys chase races. Okay, this didn't happen, so I'm going here. You're a guy to me that as I've come to know you, you're just, as I show up, this is what we're doing. Okay, it didn't work out. Okay, I'm going home because we got business to do this week, and we'll try again next week. You're not beating yourself up if the race doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
That just comes with
I used to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, I've been at 3 racetracks at the same night and got rained out at all of them. You know, and those days are over.
Yeah.
You know, those days are over. You know, we get to the racetrack, and I really like the races. I'll go to races that they're having 2 or 3 races in the same area, but I really like the races that the races are at the same racetrack.
Yeah.
I can get here a day early, I can get set up, and I can race, and we're not having to, you know, with a motorhome, moving is harder. You know, like when you're just in your pickup truck, you throw everything up and you just go to the next track. With a motorhome, breaking everything down, setting everything up, I mean, that's harder to do than if you're just in a pickup truck. So it's harder to chase races when you're racing like we do nowadays.
The evolution of the modified world, because modified racing, when it started out, it was me and my dad. You know, he runs a small business, and we're gonna go modified racing. Now, modified racing, you guys spend the same money basically as the late models did 15 years ago, without the reward. How do you justify what you're doing? Because the cost is astronomical.
I ask that question a lot, and honestly, you know, full transparency, the way I justify it is I drive for somebody. You know, if it wasn't for Mark Bush owns my race cars. Philip Oakley owns a good portion of my race engines. If it wasn't for those 2 guys, I would not be doing this. I do not see how a work, which I'm a working man. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but I don't see how somebody gets started in this today. You know, like when I started, I was able to buy a race-ready competitive modified. I built the frame myself. We bought an engine, but I had probably $15,000 in my whole mod, and I had good stuff. You know, nowadays you can't buy $15,000 modified
For a crash roller.
I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And it would be I started when it was affordable, and I was able to run well enough where I've had enough backing, enough sponsors. Drake's Come Play, the restaurant that, you know, is around this area. They're in Kentucky, you know, Illinois, Indiana. They're a big supporter of mine too, so they give me a lot of cash to get up and down the road each year, and that's the way I justify it. I do not take a lot of money out of my businesses to race on. I actually run this race team like a third business. Now it's not profitable.
Yeah, but no,
you know what I'm saying? It's not profitable, but I'm not letting it make me bankrupt either, which is what I see a lot of people do, and it's kind of a sad deal, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I was one of those guys. I mean, I spent every dime I had and, you know, made it happen. I was just going to figure it out. We'll worry about it next week.
Yeah.
And when I got older, I was like, you know, I love racing. You know, I've been to racetracks all over the country. I've chased races, but, you know, a lot of this don't make a whole lot of sense.
Well,
you know?
I tell you, I was like that. So all through my 20s, my dream was to be you know, I want to get paid to race. That was my dream all through my 20s and early 90s. I want to make it to Lucas Oil where I can get paid, and that's all I want to do is race. And I don't care how much money I make, enough to eat, right? Yeah. And my wife was supportive of that. She's like, let's do it. Let's do it. So we raced hard. We spent all of our money. We spent everything we had. When I was around mid-30s, 34, 35, I got a break with a guy named Scott Clippinger. I don't know. He had owned some late model teams and had some drivers, and he actually hired me and my wife, and we raced full time in 2000. I think it was probably 15, 16 era. So we did. We quit our remodeling business. We went to work for Scott. He paid me a base salary to work on the car and keep his son's car ready, and then he paid me a percentage of what I won. So that right there was kind of a breaking point of me where I had to spend money to race. Up to that point, it was all on me and my wife. I had drove for some other guys previous of that, but it was small budget stuff, you know what I mean? We were still scraping by. When I started driving for Scott, it was a total different deal. We always had the best stuff we could get. We could actually save a little bit of money because we were making money, and it just changed my whole perspective on racing. when me and Scott decided to split up after 2 years, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I didn't even know if I was going to continue to race, honestly. And we had Mark Bush race cars at Scott's. That's what we did. That's how me and Mark met. Well, Mark called and offered me a deal to drive his house car. And it wasn't a paying deal, but it was, my race cars were paid for. And now all I got to do is find some sponsors, and my race team is paid for. And so that's really why you see me, hey, I'm going to run this race, this race, this race, and this race. And you don't really see my schedule change a lot through the year, because I run this deal like a business. At the beginning of the year, I know exactly how much money I have to spend, and that's all I'm spending. And if we get to midpoint of the season and that business is out of money, then we're not racing again until next year. So I try to race a lot smarter than I used to when I was younger, and I just had to be at the racetrack and had to be here, had to be there. So it's just a total different deal than what it was 15 years ago for me.
Yeah. When you say you race a lot smarter, I'm glad you say that, because I've been on record, and some people call me homers, but you know, Western Kentucky is nowhere near the city of Louisville, so I'm not a,
right.
You know, but I think we've got a core group of guys in your area, because Illinois gets, especially in the UP ranks, everybody talks about how great Illinois racing is, and it is. Their drivers are phenomenal, and they got really good racetracks. But we've got a core group of guys, and you and Clayton Miller and Trent Young and Nicely and Followay. We got a core group of guys right there in your area that are some of the best modified drivers in the country.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
You to me, you're the smartest racer out of those guys. When I say that, I'm not because we're doing this interview, I'm just being honest. You put yourself in good positions on the racetrack. You're a guy that when I see you, you're never going to run in there and be like, okay, we just screwed up type deal. It's like, well, I'll just relax, and if it works out, good. If it don't, we didn't tear nothing up.
That's like, sometimes I do get too laid back in the car. There's a lot of races that I feel like I could have won if I pressed a little earlier, a little harder. But that comes with, what that comes with is a lot of the guys you mentioned, you know, they're still younger. I don't know what they got going on for business side of things, but we're really busy through the week. Me and my wife do 100% of the repairs on the race car.
Yeah.
So I know if I go in there and I tear this race car up, that it's going to be a long week.
Yeah, we got overtime.
We got a lot of work to do at home. Yeah. We got a lot of work with our remodeling business that has to be done. We got rental business we got to take care of, and then plus we got to get this race car ready. So if I tear this thing up, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks before I can get it back out, and they're going to be miserable weeks. So I would much rather run second, load the car in one piece, than stuff it in the fence trying to pass a guy on the last lap for the win, where I really don't think I can pull it off anyway. If I got the car to win and we can run hard, great. But I try to get the most I can get out of my car without going over the limit, because I've been over the limit. We've tore stuff up. We've had bad wrecks, and it just never ever works out good. It makes it's spectacular for the fans.
Well, yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Man, that's just a tough deal, and I think that just comes with being in it so long. You know, back when I was a kid, like every race was like your last race. You know, like. But when you get older, you're like, hey, there's another day. Live to race another day. You know what I mean?
Well, as you say, you get older. How much longer do you see yourself doing this?
Oh, that's a very simple question. As long as Mark Bush wants to keep racing, I'll keep racing with him. When Mark decides he is done, I will probably be done with him as far as on a full-time basis. I don't see myself ever getting completely out of the racing scene. I still love being here at the racetrack. I love being in the car, but the workload during the week becomes a little much. So if the time comes when Mark is done, if there's another opportunity that arises where I can just kind of show up and help some people, or if I can just show up and drive. The deal I have with Mark are very few and far between in the mod world, and I realize that.
Yeah.
And Mark is like family to me. Like I said, we've been together 10 years now, and He's in his mid to upper 70s, so I don't know how long he'll want to do it, but he shows no signs of slowing down. I'm telling you, that guy is one of the most healthiest and fit and energetic guys I know, to be any age, to be honest with you. So as long as he wants to keep rolling, we'll keep rolling. As long as we can keep racing and not lose a ton of money, as long as we can keep racing on the entertainment side of our funding, then we'll keep going. If it gets to a day where we're just spending more than we want to, or Mark wants to get out, I'm past the point of I'm not buying cars. When it comes to where I have to buy my own stuff, I'm not going to do that. It's not that important to me anymore. But as long as I can keep a ride, I'll probably stay at it at some form.
Well, here's one thing I want to throw out to you, because life after racing, you said you want to be around the racetrack, and the work aspect of it is astonishing. It's people who sit in the stands have no idea what goes into it. That's just, and for the people that even try to do it on a small level, don't know what it goes into it at a higher level.
That's just correct.
But the way you deal with people, the way you handle situations, I think you would be an excellent promoter. Now, I'm not saying go by a racetrack type thing at all, but could you ever see yourself working with a series or doing something like that? Because you're a great business guy. So, you've got corporate sponsors with your race team. So do you think you could bring that all in, or is that something you want no part of?
Well, so I would not be opposed to working with the series, like maybe, kind of like on your side of things, like announcing maybe, or maybe like doing some of the TV stuff or something. I would kind of probably like to do a little bit of that, and I wouldn't be opposed to helping a series. But when it comes to, like, I'm never going to be a tech official. I'm never going to own a racetrack. I'm never going to try to start a series, because God bless the guys that do that, because we have to have them. But man, that is a losing battle. You are never, at best, you're going to have first and second place happy, and the rest of the field mad at you. I'm not going to be the guy that does that.
Well, here's
I wouldn't be opposed to doing like some like TV stuff with like some of these like not necessarily Flow, but some of the other streaming channels, or something like what announcing or something along those lines.
I got bad news for you. See, that was my exact answer. I said no, I don't want no part of that. So as I took the announcing job, you're kind of like me. You've been around racing the whole time. You kind of just become the tech guy. You kind of just become that all comes with it.
That will not happen with me. It will not happen.
Well, see, I said the same thing. Then last night I had guys ready to kill me. So that's it's all fun. It's when it's all over and done with, all you have is the memories and a few black eyes. And,
no thanks on that part of it.
So
to answer your question, what I would really like to do is I would like to find a couple younger guys that just needed some
consulting.
Not necessarily on and I've worked with Mark for 10 years, so I'm pretty knowledgeable on setup stuff, but that's not more driving technique with younger people. Like I can help a little on the setup side, but if I'm dealing with somebody I don't want to step on toes if somebody's in this type of car and they're telling them to set it up this way, blah blah blah. But I really like working with younger people.
Yeah. Well, I say, because if you're going to do a total consultant job, you might want to bring the wife in and make sure, because you just told us she did all the work. So you're signing her up for more work.
Well, like I told you earlier, when I say I mean we.
You mean we? Okay.
We're a package deal.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to.
Yeah. We're one in all we do.
Yeah, because she's going to listen, so I want to make sure we clarify that. I didn't want to put no words in your mouth and have her mad at me.
No, she's
Because I seen her on the sticks last night.
Yeah.
I don't want her mad at me, because she was mad at you. About lap 17, she was a little heated at you. So, I've seen that. I don't want no part of that, because I'm good at making people mad at me anyway. So I want to stay on the calm side of that.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you, jumping on here and doing this, and And you're a guy that honestly I would like to do like an hour deep dive, but we're at a time crunch. Honestly, we're not where we're at because everything is ish on the end of their start time.
Right.
So, but we can't be the ones that tells everybody to be on time and then we be late. So we appreciate you taking time out of your day. And this has been a 2-month long deal. We've been working on this, but we've had about 10 rainouts that kept us from doing this. So I really appreciate you coming on. But before we get off here, we ask everybody, who do you want to help, things that helped you get up and down the road and makes this possible?
Well, obviously, like we spent a lot of time talking about, is Mark Bush and Philip Oakley. Those Mark with the race cars and Philip Oakley and his son Jay. Everybody always says Philip Oakley, but Jay, his son, I mean, he's a big part of that business too. Really young kid, really knowledgeable, and big part of what we do comes from Jay too. So really appreciate those guys. Drakes, I couldn't do it without them. If there's over 30 Drakes across the country, if you're around one, stop in, tell them that you heard about it on here at the racetrack.
They get my money every week.
And
hold on. Best fried bologna sandwich you'll eat at any restaurant comes from Drake's.
Yeah. So stop in, tell them you see them at the racetrack. So that helps me out a lot. And of course, my wife and Joe and everybody that helps me along the way. And I got a lot of other sponsors that help us too. Wind Supply and Joe Beard and Sons Trucking, and just so many people that help us and are behind us. We just couldn't do it without each and every one of them, and we appreciate it. And I appreciate you all. The series. If it wasn't, it's no secret I don't run a lot of just regular races anymore. Most of the races I run are a series special or an event or something like that, and without you guys, we wouldn't be doing it. So appreciate that, everything Matt's done, and hopefully this mod deal kind of takes a turn and picks up. I know the mod deal is in kind of a weird place because it's so expensive and the pay is so little, and guys like you are trying to turn that around and try to get the pay caught up to the cost of the cars, which are the home racers' fault. But appreciate what you guys do and stuff like that.
So there you heard it from the guy from Utica, Kentucky, that when I announce, I screw up and say Owensboro because everybody's from Owensboro from that area. But Utica, Kentucky,
it's literally 5 miles from Owensboro. I tell most people I'm from Owensboro, so it's not a big deal.
Well, you want to claim the big city there.
Yeah. Nobody knows where Utica is. So if you say Owensboro, they got a general idea.
The Walters and the Greens, everybody knows where that is.
You're right.
But it's got 250-ish modified A-main wins, and like he said, he probably should have 400, but he's kind of timid. He's one of the... But that's basically what you said, so that's what we're going with. But none of the success is his, of his work. It's all his wife's, and we greatly appreciate it. But thank you for taking your time. Utica, Kentucky's Josh Harris.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Flash. That was Josh Harris out of Utica, Kentucky. One of the... I always want to say up-and-coming modified racers, but he's kind of dwindling down at the end of his career there. Said, don't know how much longer he's going to do it, but cool story about him and his wife that they just kind of race together. That's what they do. They do life together. They race together. They run a business together.
Work together.
Yeah, and she will tell him when he's in the right and in the wrong. I sat behind her. I was announcing the race, and I seen him get past, and I seen those. If she could have used those sticks on his head, she probably would have.
She popped some knots on his head with them sticks.
She. But I mean, as much work as she's doing, she has the right to be, right to be upset. So.
But
we touched on it, but with Cole Followay just picked up a huge win this weekend at the Merle Downey, $8,600 at Lawrenceburg. Tyler Nicely's won 7 or 8 in a row. Josh Harris has won a couple in a row. Trent Young has won 2 or 3 down in Western Kentucky in the last week or so. The Western Kentucky modified, we don't have the quantity as everybody else does. But the quality sure is there in Western Kentucky.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, you've got some race car drivers in that area. So, it's okay about his career and how everything goes. And he's another guy that we kind of had to cut short because because I had to go take charge of a
race director.
Yeah, had to go take charge of a racetrack that I had no idea that was going to be happening. But Harris is another guy that we're going to have on maybe in the wintertime, and because he's got some big news coming up. So we'll have him on and do a deeper dive. But big fan of Utica, Kentucky's Josh Harris. That's for sure. This week's upcoming events. Before we get into this week's upcoming events, racetrack spotlight. This week's racetrack spotlight is where I just was this weekend, the Tri-State Speedway, the Clash track. It's one of the most beautiful racetracks in the country. It was funny. I forgot to mention this when we were talking about the results, but I'll mention it right now, real quick. Rodney Melvin won a late model race, and Spanky came out of retirement and was on the call for Chris Steffen. So Spanky had all the races by himself. And I sent Spanky a message and said, backstretch, sweating my tail off. Rodney Melvin's winning races, and I got that Campbellsville, Kentucky's draw, looking down in turn number 4. And Spanky said, man, enjoy the show. But, it was good to hear Spanky on the call. But Tri-State Speedway, guys, if you have not been to Tri-State Speedway, and usually we say if you're within 2 hours, 3 hours. If it doesn't matter if you're within 10 hours of this place. You have to
get racing.
Yes. That's what I'm getting at. You know what you're getting when you get there. It don't matter what division it is. The track's going to be juiced up. It's going to have a cushion. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's a quarter-mile high bank track. It's got the best cheeseburger you'll eat at any racetrack in America. If there's one better than that, I've challenged you before, send it to me. I will go be the judge, but I've had plenty of Tri-State cheeseburgers, and it is the best cheeseburger out of all the racetracks. Got good fish sandwiches, local Daywood or dog meat. I don't know how they pronounce it, but they provide all the food there for the racetrack. But if you guys get to Tri-State Speedway, it's one of those places. Got front stretch and back stretch seating. We sit on the back stretch because we like the sun to our back. I don't know why anybody would sit on the front stretch, but that's just my opinion.
Right.
I don't like looking at the sun when I don't have to. But it's just an absolute incredible racetrack that you need to get
don't
to.
sit on the bottom going into turn 2 or turn
4 or 3. Into 1 or 3. Yeah,
1 or 3. Don't sit on the bottom.
You're in a spray zone, and you might have sprint cars landing in your lap. I just went there, and I love this place, and we're going to talk about it. But their next race is August 2nd, USAC Indiana Sprint Week. Trust me when I say this. Trust me. You will not want to miss the USAC Indiana Sprint Week race there at Tri-State. It's one for the. How do you say that? It's one of those events you just got to get to.
Yeah, and if you go to that one, you need to go early.
Yeah,
because it fills up. It's pretty much you're sitting cheek to cheek on that one.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. It's a little crowded, but it's worth it.
Definitely worth it.
So this week's upcoming events. The high limit, it will be at Florence on Friday and Saturday. I'm going to try to make it up there Friday because Saturday we got other plans. But high limit sprint cars are at Florence Friday and Saturday. They will be on Flow, so you can check that out on Flow, or just make the trip to Florence because it's worth the trip. Lucas Oil late model dirt car series got I-34 Raceway in West Burlington, Iowa, Thursday night. Always worth the trip. And then Friday and Saturday at Lucas Oil Speedway there in Wheatland, Missouri. So that's the Lucas Oil stuff going on this weekend. Friday, locally, you got Circle City's got Indiana Pro late models. Bloomington Speedway's got 410 non-wing sprint cars and the Huntley 305 IMCA Race Savers. Saturday, Paragon Speedway has the Ball sprint cars. The Comp Cam Super Late Models Flash are at the Ditch, the Riverside, West Memphis, Arkansas. Which will be a great show. And then where we will be, the Cumberland Plateau Open Modified Series, $2,000 a win, $200 to start at the Lake Cumberland Speedway. The Brandon Hargrove owned and promoted Lake Cumberland Speedway, so looking forward to that. Modifieds, the big motors, ripping around the top of Lake Cumberland Speedway should be fun. And it's one of those races that's not too awful far from us, so we can hopefully get home in a decent hour. Lake Cumberland's Lake Cumberland's been known. Some nights you don't get home in a decent hour, but hopefully we get home in a decent hour. And then ones that you want to keep up with this week, if you have Dirt Vision, Thursday night, World of Outlaw Sprint Cars are at Deer Creek, Minnesota. Talking about a race I'm looking forward to. Thursday night, the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, Deer Creek, Minnesota. And then Friday and Saturday, they're at Wilmot Raceway in Wisconsin for 2 days. And then the World of Outlaw late models are Friday and Saturday in Sheridan Speedway, Hartford, Ohio. The Blaney-owned facility has the World of Outlaw late models. So pretty much if you want to go to a race this weekend, there's plenty of races. National Tour, Regional Tour, Brownstown's running, Sportsdrome's running. Everything's running in our area. So you can, you can find, if you want to go to a race, you can find a race.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah. It's a, so that's a, but
and that's what I was going to mention too about that. You know, you always ask me what if I want to put anything at the end of the thing, but it's just like your buddy was telling you. You know, Robert was telling you about what happened at the racetrack up there. You know, you can watch all this stuff on streaming, but you don't get the full. If you're at the racetrack, it's 100 times better. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, no, you just got to be there. I mean, it's just one of those things where you just have to. I mean, it's I mean, now, if you can make it, you need to make it. A, the tracks need you, and B, it's a lot more enjoyable on your end.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Florida this weekend, and I looked around and knew there wasn't no dirt races, but I even checked Armadale and Showtime and all those to see if anything was going on because I was going to try to hit one of those up, but I couldn't find anything racing. So I did have to watch some streaming stuff.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, you know, you can't be there every weekend, but if you can, you need to. That's something that
I was willing to drive a couple more hours this weekend though to go watch the race. So
yeah, we're gonna find something. But that's it. You know, as we say in each and every week, support not your local racetrack, but a local racetrack. Get out, support. I know it's hot. And you know, drink plenty of fluids, drink plenty of water. But you can still make a day out of it. I mean, we stopped by, me and Tanya stopped by our world famous Fort Branch Park yesterday, hung out in the shade for a little bit. There's plenty to do you can make happen. Get out and enjoy the races. It's that time of year where you know, every night of the week there's something going on. But I mean, you got anything else, Flash, before we get off here? I still got to ask.
No,
even though you already added, I still got to ask. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
We are looking for a sponsor still for the Racetrack Spotlight. And that the big news that we had coming up, it will start next week. We got a midweek modified deal that we've talked about, and I've kind of pushed it back because I had a few other things going on. But starting next week, not this week, but starting next week, we will have the modified report. I don't even know the name of it yet. So midweek modified Mafia. I don't even know yet, but we'll. We're going to get to that. So that's something that we're going to be doing in conjunction with Racing Dirt, but we've had to push some things back. But until next time, we'll be trading sliders.